What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of the Archetype podcast. Real quick, I did want to go into what archetype means. It's a common example of a person or a thing. And I named it this because I wanted to show my humility in the fact that I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. I'm not trying to display that I'm better than anybody. I just want to reach people that feel the same way as me about Jesus, and reach people that may have been at certain points that I've been in, or that I can just relate to people. Maybe you're not even a Christian; you just want to listen to me speak because you relate to me, and that's what I want from this. Is not me being a teacher, but me being amongst the people, just being like, okay, I just found this. I just found the color blue. I know you guys like the color green, but the color blue is really cool if you just like look at it for a second. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing. But I'm just like you. I love the color green. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's kind of from more of that angle. With that being said, today is about my music journey, about the influence that music has had on me, and not even me making music, but just me listening to it and it being a very big part of my life. I'm going to break this down today in chapters. I have 4 chapters to actually go off of today. And I've asked God to please speak through me today while I'm recording this. Because I know if I speak the entire time, it's going to sound not as I want it. So I'm praying to God that He speaks through me on this. But yeah, with that being said, let's jump right into chapter 1, which is ages 0 to 16. My earliest influences to music is things like Blues Clues, The Wiggles, which is like just two separate, very different things, but the Wiggles are a band of dudes that make music for little kids, and then Blues Clues is a TV show. I swear everybody knows what Blues Clues is, but it was this TV show, and they'd sing in it sometimes, and so that was my first introduction really to like musical things. Always loved music, loved dancing, loved music. After that, after I grew up a little bit, got into Justin Bieber, was a super big Justin Bieber fan. I was like the Bieber fever stuff, like just crazy big fan. And I remember I had the black leather jacket with the purple hood in it, and I was just like, I feel like Justin Bieber. Like, I want to be him. This is how I feel. Like, I feel cool in this. And I would I was young enough to where I would turn it on the TV and I like spin in circles and like sing Justin Bieber. It was the most fun thing to me at the time. And I was probably like, I had to be like 7 or 8, I feel like, something like that. And yeah, it was really big to me. That was my biggest influence at that time, around like 7 to 8, even like 10 years old, I feel like, almost. And so after that, because I was in a very long Justin Bieber phase. After that, I got into what my dad liked, and that was Motley Crue, Black Sabbath, Bon Jovi, Eminem. Eminem was a really, really big one, and I have a very early memory that's like, I feel like super instrumental to the way that I am. And I just remember being in the passenger seat of this red Toyota that we had, and he would drive and play Eminem and like perform to himself, like literally just like full out like you know what I'm saying, like this whole thing, like like that whole like mannerism type rapping. And he would rap this to himself, like he's preaching to himself. And I just remember watching this and listening to the Eminem songs, and like I feel like that's super instrumental to the way that I am now, and the fact that I do like performing, and how I related to music for so long. So there was that, and then he got us these iPods as well, around that time, and it have all that type of music on there that I'd listen to myself. So that was a very big thing for me. Fast forward from that into third grade, my friend Zane, he showed me Fetty Wap. It was like the biggest thing in third grade. I think it was around 2014, 2013 was around there. And that was the biggest for me at that time. That was like, this is what new hip hop is. This is what's cutting edge right now. It's Fetty Wap 1738. And so that was around like musically and everything that had just come out. And so I remember like making a little video of myself like lip syncing Fetty Wap, like legitimately, literally. And so after that, then the biggest thing for me was SoundCloud. Going into fourth grade, like SoundCloud was the biggest thing for me. Finding these like Goblin remixes. I forget the exact name, but it was like EDM remixes of like these dudes like named Goblin something, and they made the dopest remixes at the time. Just like EDM house music, I absolutely loved. I'd ride my bike to it all the time, and then shortly after that, I got into the SoundCloud wave, like the SoundCloud era of hip hop, and like y'all know, like Lil Yachty, Lil Uzi, Denzel Curry, 21 Savage, Kodak Black, like literally 2016 XXL Freshman, like that was that. And that was everything to me. Like on SoundCloud, listen to all like One Night, Broccoli then comes out, I Spy, you have, you've got Lil Uzi, P's and Q's, you have Denzel Curry, I am the one, the way to turn, need a gun. That song. You have Kodak Black, No Flockin', Tunnel Vision. You got 21 Savage, No Heart, X. All these songs, like, and it was massive for me because Lil Uzi was like the number one at the time for me. I listened to all those songs in fourth and fifth grade, but the biggest one for me that was the biggest influence was Uzi. He just had like the most swag in my, like at that age I was like, he's just got the swag, he's got the look, he's got the sound, his dopest beats, like just it was everything to me. And Love is Rage 2 came out at the end of fifth grade, kind of almost going into sixth grade. And I remember going to my mom and I was on my phone. I was like, Mom, I need SoundCloud Plus. I need it because I can't listen to Love's Rage 2 unless I have SoundCloud Plus. And I didn't use Apple Music at the time. SoundCloud was like my thing. And so my mom bought it for me. I listened to it, changed everything. I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is the best album of all time. This is like my favorite. That like Dark Queen, X, you had even the bonus tracks, 21 minutes. You had so many others. What's that one song? Leonardo DiCaprio. There was one on there. Oh, and I forget how am I forgetting the song name? It's like Uzi's biggest song. Hold on. EXO Tour Life. That's EXO Tour Life. EXO Tour Life was massive. I loved the way life goes. Like every song on there, I just loved it. Sauce it up. Ooh, man, like that Neon Guts. Oh my gosh, Neon Guts is great. But yeah, just everything I like. I remember going on his merch website and I'm being like, Mom, I want all of this. For my birthday, this is what I want. I want the vinyl. I need the hoodie. I want the long sleeve, the t-shirt, whatever it is. Whatever it is that album cover was on, I wanted it. I wanted everybody to know that this is my favorite thing. I like did the shoulder roll back and everything. Like whole thing was just like, it's going stir crazy for it. And that continued through like sixth grade. And in sixth grade, I got a little bit more into Logic. Became a really big Logic fan. That was actually, I think, my real first introduction into boom bap. Logic back then, during like, hold on. I gotta make sure these names are right. I don't want to be, like, I want to be accurate with this. Bro dropped an album in June. I did not know that. Anyways, Under Pressure. So I went back to the Under Pressure album probably in like 2016, 2017 that was around. Um, and this is actually crazy to see, like, all these albums that are out now. When you went on Apple Music back at that time, the only albums that were out were Under Pressure, The Incredible True Story, Bobby Tarantino, and Everybody. Nothing else was on there. And so I remember like listening to The Incredible True Story, Under Pressure, and that was like my first like the what's the song? I love Soul Food, loved the song Under Pressure, loved Bury Alive, Bounce, Never Enough. Those are my jams, and oh my gosh, Soul Food was so good. I love that song. Gang Related, I love the song Gang Related. But it was like that, the first introduction to sample flipping, putting drums on it, just rapping, like straight rap. And so I really gravitated towards that. And like, I'm just now honestly realizing this, but even back then, I didn't have a set like music that I liked. I've always been super diverse where like I can go from a Uzi and a Yachty and go get into Logic. That's a lot more like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, like more like Eminem would rap. Anyways, so that was super big for me in 6th and 7th grade. And later in 7th grade, this was a massive moment for me, actually. I was in my girlfriend at the time in middle school, my ex-girlfriend in middle school. Fun fact, the only other one that I've had other than Celeste. So I praise God for such a blessing that Celeste is, that I found her so fast. That actually God put me where I needed to be to meet her. But way back in middle school, 7th grade, I had a girlfriend, and I was in her basement. She threw this party, and I was on the speaker. I was actually playing Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD was a really big thing for me too back then. And I came across this on my recommended Flower Boy. It was See You Again by Tyler. And I remember playing this and I was like, whoa, whoa. Like this is new. This is something I've never heard before. Like I said, my references from when I was younger is rock music. The only other reference I had other than my dad was my mom, and my mom listened to soft rock. She listened to Pearl Jam, went into like punk a little bit more, like that grungy, like Snow Patrol, Nirvana, Grateful Dead, all that, like a little bit more hippy dippy grunge, soft rock. That's what she liked. So I had that, and then what my dad liked. Those are my two reference points in Justin Bieber. Those are my reference points for all of music. So I think that's why I was automatically infatuated with Tyler, because I was like, I didn't even know music like this existed. Like I knew pop music, but See You Again didn't feel like just a regular pop song. You know, See You Again doesn't have the regular like major chords that a pop song usually has. I think it's in like C minor or something. I think it's something like that. It's different, but it just made me want to learn. Like I listened to this song and I remember later going home and just like discovering Flower Boy, like the entire album. I remember looking at the cover and being like, I've never seen a cover that looked like this. Listening to the songs, going through the songs, I've never heard a track list that sounded like this. Before this, I mean, Logic was the closest thing to that, to where he would have skits, especially The Incredible True Story. I mean, literally being a concept album. I remember learning the word concept album when watching his interviews and not knowing what that even meant. But just like being like, oh, this is what he calls a concept album, is The Incredible True Story. This is that. That's all. You know what I'm saying? That's what was in my head. And so getting to Tyler and listening to how he does things, I was like, I thought what he had was original all the way. I thought he had made like this new genre that he's come up with. I didn't know where his influences came from, so I was just mind blown. Back then, there was no Igor, Call Me If You Get Lost, Chromacopia, none of that. None of that was there. Only thing that I had to go off of Tyler was Flower Boy, because I was too young to have listened to Cherry Bomb, Wolf, Goblin, any of those things. Too young to even know those existed. Hadn't watched Loiter Squad. Didn't see any interviews of him. Didn't know who this guy was. I saw the name Tyler, the Creator, and the Flower Boy album. His face is covered up, so I didn't even know what he looked like. So if that says anything, like literally just going straight off the music. And so dove more into his music, started watching interviews, watched like the Vice series Nuts and Bolts, to know who this guy is. And the more I learned about him and the way I heard him speak and everything, I was infatuated. And so I started getting my own notebook and I started drawing out my own furniture designs, my own shoe designs, my own clothing designs, my own brand designs. I had a name called Sakura that I loved back in middle school that I wanted to name my clothing after. I had like this flower logo, like the floor. And so I was like, man, this is what I want to do. And my identity quickly became an artist. I was like, this is who I am. If I'm going to tell people what I do or what I'm into, I'm going to say I'm a musician or I'm an artist or I like making clothing. I like making things. I started telling people I was just like, I like making stuff. That's what I told people when they said, what do I like to do? That's what I like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's genuinely what I felt. And so I quickly started making music, started wanting to figure out how to make a piece of clothing, just putting on a t-shirt or something like that. And so it took a couple years, but through 7th and 8th grade, just going through Tyler's music. I remember listening to Flower Boy one day. And again, like I was not in tune with any of the stuff back then. I wasn't following any Instagram pages, wasn't following Twitter pages, didn't even know Tyler had a Twitter, like all this stuff. Like, I don't know when music is dropping. To me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't have that wherewithal yet of music. And so I remember listening to Flower Boy one day and then going to his page and I slide over. I didn't even slide over. No, I was like at the top, like where don't tap the glasses right now. That's where Igor was. And I tapped on it. And I was like, oh, this dude that I've been listening to that I absolutely love just dropped an album. Well, I'm going to listen to this. Oh, and then there's a featured interview with Zane Lowe. This is my first introduction to Zane Lowe. I didn't know who this dude was until this Tyler interview. And so I watched the interview, I'm listening to the music, and Igor just changes everything for me. Like the visuals, the music, like the music videos, the visuals, the clothing, he had, when he dropped Igor, he had the stage version, the live concert version was on here as one of the video extras. You could watch the Apple Music live concert, and I was like, he's in a suit. He's in a different persona. He's like, he's dancing in a different way I've never seen before. These music videos, how does he get this look, this effect? I don't know anything about cameras, so I'm thinking, what is he doing to make this look like this? I don't know what color grading is. I am just taking all these things in and recognizing that I have never in my life seen before something like this. I'm blown away. I remember being at Costco. It was at Costco with my mom in the car, clicking on Igor and seeing this. And I think I heard Igor sing for the first time. You hear the, just being like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa. And so after that, going into Cherry Bomb and Wolf. And I remember going into freshman year, loving the Wolf album. That was my favorite Tyler album. Like, I loved Flower Boy and Igor, but there was something about Wolf that I connected to that made me feel like who I was, like a kid. I started dressing more like a skater. I wore striped shirts and I started skating. Really wanted to learn how to skate, like so bad. I was so terrible, but I was trying to learn how to ollie and I couldn't get it. I'd be out there for hours a day just practicing, listening to the Wolf, playing video games, listening to Wolf. Like anything I did, this was just like the playlist of everything. And yeah, that was me. And so that was up to, so ages 0 to 16, that's who I was. And a little bit before that too, around I think the ages of 14 or 15, I also discovered Kanye. And Kanye was a super big thing for me at the time too. Listening to Life of Pablo, listening to Kids See Ghost, A little bit of Ye, not really. Going back and listening to um, Graduation, College Dropout. I really wasn't that big on My Dark Twisted Fantasies for a while. Oh, I loved Graduation. Graduation, I loved. The first Kanye music that I really was drawn to was Graduation, Yeezus, and Life of Pablo, and Kids See Ghost. Those were like what I like really loved when I first started listening to Kanye. That's what I was really into. And then later on, I started liking the other ones, and I just like grew an appreciation for his whole discography, really. But yeah, that's who I was into. And so you can imagine this kid that his only reference point of music is Logic, the SoundCloud era, his parents' rock influence, and Eminem and Fetty Wap. Those are like the things. And I remember there was a couple of different ones in there too that I'm like remembering as I'm speaking, like during Fetty Wap, listening to Ace Hood, I woke up in a new Bugatti. That song. Designer during the SoundCloud stuff too was big for me. Timmy Turner. That one. And Panda too, of course. And then yeah, so like a couple different things like that, but again, just like little droplets. And so very quickly I became this guy that went from just casually listening to hip hop music and loving it to this is who I am. I am Tyler. I am Kanye. These are my people. These aren't just hip hop musicians. These are artists. These are people that build worlds. This is who I want to be. I love cameras. I wanted to vlog. I was so into Casey Neistat back in 5th grade too. And I begged for a camera. I got a camera and I wanted to vlog, and I ended up not doing it. But there's a couple videos I used to have up of me vlogging around that time. But that's who I wanted to be, was like an artist. And that fell right into the category. Bro, what is going on out there? There's like banging or something going on outside. Anyways, yeah, that's what then it fell right into what I wanted to do. Was like I loved all these things. And so like those years are super important to like who I am today, is like 4th and 5th grade, 7th and 8th grade. And yeah, and then that freshman year I started really figuring things out where I was like, I'm gonna learn how to make music. I'm actually do it. So I start getting Ableton and I start learning how to make beats using splice samples, watching a lot of Kenny Beats, a lot of Kenny Beats. I love Kenny Beats. Watching his live stream, seeing how he uses Ableton, how he puts instruments into things, beat contests, all these things, like just really getting into it. And learning how to use samples, flipping things, stuff like that. And during this also learning piano, because again, like watching videos of Tyler playing piano, I was like, that looks so cool. Like to me, watching him play piano was cooler than watching somebody on a beat pad. It just was way cooler to me at the time. Still is till this day, but at that time, like just recognizing that, And so learning piano, all these things. And that 16-year-old mark was like the shifting point, really, of just being older and being aware that I need to be myself, if that makes sense. Of like, I'm going to make music, I'm going to make clothing, I'm going to make these things real. And so there was a lot of arrogance actually in that time that I also want to speak about, that I think I got from watching a lot of Kanye interviews, a lot of Tyler interviews, of like, these men are so sure of themselves. Watching Tyler interviews, like in Igor and Flower Boy, dude's like 26, 27 years old, 28, like past mid-20s. Kanye is well past mid-20s by the time that I start watching interviews of him and see how he moves. And so I'm watching these grown men be so sure of themselves and what they like and what they're doing, and that made me want to be that way. So I start falling on myself, on my own strength, on my own knowing, on all these things that like I just wasn't going to God to. I wasn't going to God for. that I just wasn't aware of, like, that I should even be doing that. It really wasn't a thought in my head. I liked going to church. I liked listening. But I really wasn't into it. And so 16, around freshman year, was like that turning point. Now, chapter 2, ages 16 to 18, there's a lot that happens in between there. I put a album out at 17, my first one, Seagulls. I made clothing. I came up with this name, Will Easton. That is now like my stage name. But I used that originally as a clothing brand name, and I made t-shirts, sold them to anybody and everybody. I remember being in school being like, I got hoodies, who wants them? In class being like, yo, bargaining with people, just buy it, wear it. I just need to see it out there. I need to get my name out there. And so that was like ages 16 and 18 was me really trying to put into action what I have been learning for years of how to do. But also around that time, around the age of like 17, I think we had a garage fire. And we had to move into a hotel for a couple of, well, actually, we had to move into a hotel for probably like 6-7 months. 6-7. Anyways, it's like 7 to 8, 6 or 7 months. And during that time, it was COVID as well. And so I started like forming like really bad anxiety around that time. And I was just like a really interesting time for me. Quarantine was fun. Me and my friends had an absolute blast. But after that, I was like just in this like anxious mental state, but still doing things. And so I was cooped up in this hotel, and with my family, we actually had 2 rooms, room for me and my brother, and then a room for my mom and Michaela, my little sister. And I would watch Traders Point, the church back in Indiana. I'd watch old sermons because they had them up on YouTube to watch. And so I'd just scroll through them, watch them, like just binging these sermons. And one day I was laying on my bed in the hotel and I was watching it, and it hit me where I was like, Jesus died for my sins. Jesus died for my sins. He died. Well, it was more the fact that he died for those people's sins at the time. It didn't really hit me yet that like he had me in mind back then. But I was like, he died for sins. He died for these people. It like hit me, like the love that he has. The Holy Spirit just came over me like tingles all over. And this is around the time that Donda came out by Kanye. Let me see. I think it was 2019. 2021. Jesus is King came out in 2019. I was still in middle school at that time. Okay. Yeah, so then Donda came out in 2021. Jesus is King came out when I was in 8th grade. So that means, yeah, I was in sophomore year. Sophomore year, Donda came out in sophomore year. And after that happened, I started singing his songs like never before. Like Off the Grid, Praise God, Come to Life, Believe What I Say, God Breathed, Lord I Need You, 24, Keep My Spirit Alive, Heaven to Hell, Remote Control, Pure Souls, Okay, New Again. New Again was a really big one for me, and it still is to this day. New Again is so good. I love the lyrics, what they vandalize, he'll evangelize. Huh? But he says that he, like, it just hit me, man. Like, I was like, oh, this is Christian music that I like. This is Christian music that I really like. And it fell right in there with, like, the hip-hop that I like, you know? Like, Tyler and Kanye are, like, my 2 biggest things at the time. And he made Christian music I was right there that I could listen to. I didn't have to go out and like listen to music that I really wasn't into at the time. I would judge, like I would totally fully judge the worship music at church. to my mom. I'd be like, Mom, I just really don't like it. Like, I understand the words, but I don't like the music, so I can't connect to it. Um, it wasn't, it really wasn't apparent to me that you could still worship God in a song without having to geek out about the instrumentals. That just wasn't a thing that was apparent to me back then, because that's what I loved in music. And I thought that my love of music was supposed to carry me to worshiping God, if that makes sense. Like, I was like, I thought that, like, music is my thing, it's my identity. So I can't like it. So how am I supposed to worship God if I don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was just like a disconnect there. And so this gave me a straight outlet into like praising God and like thanking him and like singing about him in the music that I actually like listening to at the time. And so I was super, super big on that. Super big into Donda. Going back to Jesus is King, I was really big on. Really, really big on that. And yeah, just super big on that. But I was still listening to secular music. Like, Donda was like dope to listen to, but I didn't feel any way about listening to secular music because I mean, I still loved it. Like, that was my thing. Like, so what if there's bad words in it? I just won't say them. I will bleep myself. Basically, I still do that to this day. Like, when I'm listening to secular music, obviously I don't say the bad words, but back then I just didn't feel anything from it. Or even cussing. Like, I cussed, I was swearing like a sailor up until probably like 17 years old. Even after that, even after I met Celeste, I was still cussing and didn't really care about it. It wasn't until around probably in between 17 and 18 that I stopped swearing, and I just felt uncomfortable doing it, and I felt evoked by the Holy Spirit to like stop doing that. and yeah, so I didn't really feel no way about listening to secular music. I was like, this is the music that I love too. Same way I like Donda. Look at my notes here real quick, just so I can make sure I'm really catching everything. Okay, yeah. So also want to hit on the fact that I think God was working in my heart before, obviously he was, but God was working in my heart before I even knew it on music. At like 16 years old, like straight up, like I would like start like cringing at like people would just like acting like gang members or acting like, not even acting, being gang members or rapping about it, shooting people, killing people, robbing people. Like, I didn't like it. I think that's also why I drew more towards Tyler and Kanye, because I knew I wasn't that guy and I wasn't hard and I wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go punch nobody. Like, that's not something I'm about to do, or shoot anybody or rob or kill anybody. That's just not me. So I think that's why I drew more towards Tyler and Kanye as well. And God was kind of like working through my heart of being like, just like knowing that like that's not me, but also knowing that's wrong and it's weird and cringy to like rap about that. I'll shoot you. I'll kill you. This girl means nothing to me. I'll have sex with her. Just like, yo, man, like I'm real hard. Like, you don't understand the things I've been through. Just, you can hear it on my voice still. It's not for me. But I think God was really working through my heart and like slowly just like bringing me more towards this place, to where I would really enjoy now listening to worship music more than the secular music that I used to love listening to, or just Christian music in general. And it got to a point where during 17, 18 years old in that hotel, where I did start liking, or my fault, no, 16, I meant, 16 to 18, 16 to 18, like, around that time, just liking more worship music, like going to church and really feeling something from it, like feeling the conviction of God to worship him, like in church, like it felt good, like it started feeling good. I even forced myself, me, like my logical side, me knowing, being like, even if I don't feel it in my heart right now, this is good to do. Just keep doing it. And I'd sit in services, and at first, like how it usually does, like in Church of the Highlands does this too, where they'll start with worship music, go into the sermon, and then go back to worship music. So the first time, like going in there worshiping, I really wouldn't feel it. Like I knew that was going to happen. Listen to the sermon. My spirit's on fire. Holy Spirit is like working in me. And then I get to the second time of worship, and now I'm feeling the words. Like they could be doing anything instrumentally and I'd still feel it because I'm talking to God. I'm worshiping God. And that's what it got to. And I started like just getting more and more into that. Still didn't like it enough to listen to it outside of church, but was feeling it when I was at church. And so I got to this place, I think, during the age of getting to the age of 18, where I was just God was a big thing for me, but I still felt like music was mine. It was still mine. It wasn't God's. To me, it was still mine. This is my thing. This is me. And so music at that time, like I look back at some of the songs I was making and everything, and there's some things in there where like I'm like, oh, the light is in there, but then it's like, that's dark, dude. And not dark in a way of me like speaking like nasty things. It's just very self-serving. And to me, in the mindset that I'm at right now, like a self-serving mindset is like I don't want that at all. Like I'll find myself slipping into that during the day, and it doesn't freak me out because I know that God is with me, but it wakes me up in a sense of being like, whoa, Chichu, nah, that's not where my heart's at anymore. Sorry, Celeste is texting me. She's at school right now. Yeah, like looking back at that and looking at the music I was making, because again, like I'm like elbow deep into this music stuff. Like if music was a massive jar, massive vat like a VAT, a vat of stuff, I was like ankle deep, just like head nosedive first, just like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. What can I do to make this a job for me? What can I make? How can I make a living off of this? And so I made this EP called Illit when I was like 18, I think. I think I was 18 at the time, or 17 and a half. And no, I was 18. And it was really nothing to do with God. It was just what I thought was cool, what I thought I should put out there. I wanted to impact. That was my biggest thing at the time, was in chapter 2, even going into chapter 3. But we're sticking on chapter 2 right now, which is, again, ages 16 to 18. I wanted to impact. I saw what Tyler and Kanye did, and I wanted just as big as an impact on the youth, on people in general. I wanted to move music forward. That was my thing. I wanted to add something to music. And so I started rapping on the beats that I put out on Seagulls. Seagulls was just beats for really like 95% of it. On Illit, I want to start rapping and singing and making full songs and adding something to music that I think is not there right now. That is like my perspective. I want to move music. I want people to say my name on stage. I want the glory. Like there was no God in the music I was making because I wanted the glory. And so that was like what Illit was me trying to show people what I could do and trying to make songs that were like good, and like me mixing and mastering and making all of it. I made hoodies, like really dope hoodies, and came out with like this small like catalog thing on Instagram to show it off. And I'd sell them. I sold the hoodies. All my friends had them. I sold them to people I like. There's an old friend I had that lives in New Hampshire, I think now, and he bought one. And so it's like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like just really just trying to get it out everywhere. Illit. And so, yeah. And it's crazy that it was called Illit too, because I wanted something that felt like the music I was making. And to me, it felt like it was going on a bike ride at night. And that's why like I had a slogan that was called Travel Till Dawn. And so, and I know this video wasn't about me making music, but like that was a big part for me later on, with listening to music was like what I was making from my influences. And so everything about it was like dim, not dark, but just dim, and feeling comfortable in the dimness. And ill lit literally means a dim light, or like, yeah, just like dim light. So that's why I called it ill lit, because it felt like a bike ride at night. And so this is like the place that I'm in to really like try to set the tone for what I'm in. I feel great. I'm moving. I think I'm doing a lot. I think I'm doing a whole lot with all of this. And that's where I was like, I was fully comfortable in just knowing that I was doing something good, that I thought I was doing something great. And so now we get to chapter 3, ages 18 to 19 and 3/4. Very specific with 19 and 3/4 because that's when I moved here. That's when I draw the line of chapter 3. And so in chapter 3, ages 18 to 19 and 3/4, I start working at Chipotle a lot more. Started working full-time at Chipotle, 40 hours a week. And I was working at nights. And then at some point I switched to mornings when I switched locations. But at the nights or the mornings, I would always have speaker. I always had the speaker. Like, I was the DJ. And what I would play... Heard a weird noise. Anyways, what I would play was secular music. I was playing this playlist I called... Whoa, I can't speak. I played this playlist that I have called Bikes and Dykes, and I was like trying to curate like the best playlist. And it was so all the music that I absolutely love that I would play, and it was 99% secular music. The only thing that didn't make it secular music was Jesus is King and Donda. And at first. And then so as time keeps going on, keeps going on, playing the secular music, not really caring about it. Start adding, though, during the end of chapter 3, getting to be 19 years old, or like late 18, 19 years old, I start adding the music that I heard at church, actually. Elevation Worship, Brandon Lake, those types of people, those songs. Let me see in specific. Elevation Worship. Okay, yeah. Trust in God, I absolutely loved. I put on there. I Know a Name didn't come out till this year, but I did love that one, which is still in chapter 3, but not till later. But yeah, so a couple of these songs were added in, but I would feel this embarrassment to play it at work. And so this is the way I justified it. I was like, on Sundays, we're playing Christian music to set the good tone. It's like, that's my thing. It was like, I can play all of Jesus is King. I can play worship music, whatever it is, because it's Sunday. Like, guys, come on, it's Sunday. But the rest of the days, forget it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't be played. And so that was like my mindset, because I had like this embarrassment that I didn't want to feel embarrassed to play the worship music that I liked at work. And so slowly my heart was changed. I actually met these two ladies. Their name are, I can't speak. Their names are Hannah and Lydia, and they're like Christian from like day one. Like, I think one of their dads is like a pastor, like the other one like was in like Christian college, like super, like way more devoted than I was at the time, like way more devoted. And there were signs too where you could see that. Like, I just didn't look at it the same way at the time back then, but like you could like tell, like if you really have the love of Jesus in you, you could tell by looking at me, then looking at them too, that it's just, there's a clear difference there. And so I would talk to them about the music that they would listen to. And I was like, you guys don't listen to secular music? And reminder, this is chapter 3, so I'm 18 at this time. I'm 18 working at Chipotle. Actually 19. I was like 18, 19 or so working at Chipotle. I think I actually met them after I turned 19, after last September. So we'll say now we're at 19, yeah. So I meet these two ladies at work because I work with them. And they were like, no, not really. I asked them separately too, because I worked with them on different days. I was like, so they both were like, no, not really. I was baffled. I was like, what? How? You know how, you know what I'm saying? Like in my head, I'm like, you know how much great music is out there? Like, you gotta like widen your horizons. Cause I'm like a music, like at that time, like still like just such a music snob. Like, I know it's best. Like, you gotta, even with like praise, like literally doing morning prayers every day, like praying to God by myself, going to church every Sunday, like really trying to like get other people around me to go to church more, to grow their connection in Christ. Like I'm trying to do, I was still like that, but music still just wasn't touched by God yet for me in a way that it is now. And so I was like, man, y'all don't listen to like no like hip hop or like, you know what I'm saying? Like literally anything. Like, no, not really. And Hannah was one that was a little bit more lenient to where she liked like happy songs. Like literally like the song by Pharrell, Happy. Anything that was like just more positive, like she was cool with it. She liked. And so that was the closest. But Lydia was a lot more like, she actually studied music, and that's why I was so surprised that she hadn't like listened to more secular music, which I understand now, but I just couldn't fathom back then. And so like, and I feel bad till this day, like trying to like influence them to listen to that, because I understand now. I'll go into that later, but I understand now why that's wrong. But I was like, to like in my head why that's wrong, but I was like really trying to influence this because I didn't understand. And
Swift on demand.
sorry about that. The battery died on the camera and the memory card filled up. So going back to what I was talking about, there were certain things that I just couldn't get my head around back then, like the music that I listened to, because it was still an identity for me. And other than making music back then and the way I did, I actually felt a stump at the end there, at the end of chapter 3, at the end of like, not even at the end, but just around 18 years old, 18 and a half, around there, I couldn't make music the way I used to. And I couldn't figure it out. And I think God was still working in my heart, like in a way where it's just like, stop. Like he's trying to lead me in the right direction. I'm just not seeing it in a way. And there were also things that Hannah would do at work that I noticed, like she would sing to herself. And I haven't asked her about this. This is just like my inference on it. But I think she was just like I would catch her like by herself, like working on DML station, which is just like the you drive up to the window at Chipotle and get your order. She'd sing to herself, humming to herself, and I never like really paid close attention to it. It's just something that I noticed like walking by, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like, why is she doing that? Like, it's kind of weird to sing to yourself out loud, like in a public space. But I think she was just comforting herself. Like now I know now that like I'll be singing to myself, like worshiping God to myself, like around the house. Like if I'm by myself, I'll start singing, like praising God to myself. And it's just for comfort, because that's truly your comfort area. And I don't think it was like the truest comfort area for me back then. So I couldn't understand that. So it's like certain things like that. And I don't want to condemn anybody that's like listening to secular music. I still listen to it sometimes too. And I know Celeste still listens to it sometimes. And like if you're listening to music that you like, and that's just what you're grooving to, I don't see like, yes, in my headspace now, I wouldn't go back to doing that all the time, but I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the spot that you're in to listen to it, if that makes sense. Like, if I were to just bombard you with worship music and you don't really have that connection to it, it's not going to do anything for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, you might, like, God will plant seeds for you and everything, but just bombarding you with, like, worshiping God, Christians, like, all this stuff, it's not going to do anything for you. And it's not necessarily wrong to listen to music that isn't like that, like secular music isn't like wrong per se. It's just that in my space right now, it's just that's how I'm thinking about it. Anyways, anyways, at the end of chapter 3, right before I moved, I was like in the spot where I knew I needed to get closer to God. I knew I was like, when I get to Alabama, I need to go on like a praying spree, a meditation spree of just like getting the closest I can to him. Because I went through a phase of like Playboy Cardi of like justifying to myself that it was fine to listen to that music. Now, I think if you're a Christian, you're listening to that, you are poisoning your spirit. You're poisoning your soul. Playboy Cardi makes it very clear in his visuals. The whole opium stuff, they all make it very clear in their visuals. Upside down crosses, talks about upside down crosses in his songs. Has a whole chorus on a song for it. The things he speaks about, The Weeknd on there, like everybody, the things that they speak about on there, it's demonic. It is like there's no cutting corners on it. That's what it is. And I was justifying to myself listening to it because I like the beats that were in it. And I don't want to like make people confused with what I'm trying to say, or like I don't want to confuse people in what I'm trying to say. The beats that were on that album, that were on the songs that Playboy Cardi puts out, that Opium puts out, the beats themselves, there's nothing evil about it. It's just a beat. It's the words that they're saying. It's not the sound that they're using or whatever it is that I have an issue with. It's the words that I truly think were poisoning me, that were like setting me back. And so I went through a phase of listening to that, justifying it to myself that it was fine to listen to it. And I got to this point where I was like, I know I love God. I know he loves me. But that's it. And I know the morals. I know the morals to live off of what I've learned so far. I know these things, but it wasn't in my heart, like, to really feel it. There was a disconnect. And so going into chapter 4 is where things really change. When I got here and I started really spending time with God by myself, because I was, Celeste didn't come here for the first couple of weeks like I was talking about. I was by myself. And I was living with myself, like literally just living with myself. And I was going to church, and the transformation, everything I was talking about in the last episode, that led me into my music taste changing immediately. Like, I started just getting more curious about Christian music. I started listening to like Forrest Frank. And that was like my first really like, this is good music. Like, I can actually listen to this. I'm feeling this. And I gave it a shot. I just listened to it. I went to the gym one day. This is after like feeling like a revival within myself, with Jesus, like really feeling Jesus's love for me, feeling like my sins are actually washed away, having faith that God has me in his hands, and wanting to like feeling a full heart change of wanting to live out that obedience. During the midst of this, I went to the gym one morning, and I went to the pool. Actually, do I want to speak about this? Yeah, I'll talk about it. It felt like an intimate thing for me and God to just have between us, but I feel like it's now at the point where like I'm talking about it in a way that's very useful for other people. It feels right to speak about this. I went to the pool after the gym, which is in our neighborhood, and I had my headphones on. I put on the Forrest Frank album, Child of God 2, and it played through, and it played and it played and it played. And I was sitting there in the pool, just like completely still, eyes closed, listening through the track list. And slowly but surely, my hands start moving in this motion in the water. And the thing that comes to mind is the Sunday service song. I don't know if it's the actual name of the song, but it's Rain on Me. It's originally by TLC, but they did a version of it. And I started thinking about Pure Like Water, the Kanye song, Water, on Jesus is King. And and how at the core of things in God's image we're all pure like water. Just thinking about the purity of water, moving my hands in the pool. And before I knew it, I was lost in trance. Nothing existed except for the positive words that Forrest Frank were saying and the visual of just pure water. And I was at peace. I was at true peace. In a sense of there was no feeling in my chest. There was no worry about anything because it didn't exist. It's like the worry didn't exist. And I snapped out of it. Like as soon as I became aware of it, I snapped out of it. I went, whoa. Like I was like, what just happened? Like I was just at peace. Like I felt like I was in God's presence. Like it felt like felt so good that in my head I was like, is this what heaven feels like? Truly, that's how it felt. I was so at peace where I started questioning if that's almost kind of like what heaven felt like. And it was weird because I'm now remembering that right before it happened, I was like, I wonder what heaven feels like. Like moving my hands like this, thinking about pure water. I was just like, I wonder what heaven feels like. And then slowly but surely after that, that trance happened. I don't even want to call it a trance. I want to call it like true living, true peace. Because I want that to be my normal. I don't want to even speak about it as like a trance and to say that feeling anxious all day is my normal. I want to speak as that's my normal. But yeah, it was like crazy. And so after that, I just started like really, really listening to like only worship music, only Christian music. And this is like a month ago. And I felt so much better. I was like, wow, I felt God transforming my heart because I don't need my top 5 anymore, my top 5 favorite artists anymore. For years, like up until I moved here, I would tell people my top 5, and I take pride in this, that my top 5 is Kanye, Tyler, Mac, Kendrick, and Yachty. That's my top 5. These are my favorite artists. These people I put on my Mount Rushmore over anybody. Like, to me, this is who I love. I took pride in that, like very strong pride. It's like God tore all that down and was like, no, this is what you need. And it is what I need. And my music taste changed. My heart, my entire life was chasing after my love of music, the pride that I had and who I loved, the ego of wanting to feel like I was as cool as the guys that I looked up to, as that I was as creative as I thought these people were, that I was that like all this, just like chasing this. And it was self-glorifying. Like I can see this now. I didn't realize this back then, but it was super self-glorifying of what I was doing. And it changed to where I was like, no, it's not about me. It's like it's stuck in this confusion for so long that I felt like if I were to hand God over my music, or if I just listen to worship music, that my love of music doesn't mean anything anymore, that it would be taken away from me in a way. And that's not the case now that I see it. God didn't want to take things away from me. He wanted to add what I couldn't see. I had never experienced peace during listening to music ever in my life in that way. It was always a letting out of energy. It was taken from me in a way where it was like I was expressing an emotion that I felt in a song, or I was, you know what I'm saying? It's like this. It's like it feels like this, and I'm like letting out, like moving my body to really show how I feel or show how I express, showing off, like whatever it might be, even to myself, telling myself things. It wasn't that. It was like I was being filled with peace, filled with these things while listening to this music, while listening to Child of God 2. That's what it felt like. And so after that, I went on a deep dive of more Christian music because I was like, there's no way this is it. There's got to be more. And I started listening to things differently, listening to songs differently. Because I had tried listening to Christian music before. I tried listening to Forrest Frank before when Child of God 1 came out. And I was like, this is cool. I can kind of like force myself to like it because I love God. But like, it's not really hitting for me the same way the other music does, you know? And so I started looking up different people, looking up Caleb, looking up Holvey, looking up, what's his name? Let me get my phone out. There's this dude named Alex Jean. That's who it is, Alex Jean. I like discovering like there's real hip hop out there that's just Christian music. Like listening to Alex Jean being like, bro, this literally just sounds like a dude from New York, or like this is a regular Jersey or like regular drill beat. This regular New York beat with like that, like it has that feeling to it, but he's talking about God. And I was like, wow. Like I want to listen to this because I don't feel bad afterwards. I don't feel like I've been drained afterwards. I don't feel like I'm self-glorifying afterwards. I just feel like I'm listening to a dope beat that makes me move and somebody's telling me about the greatness of God. That is like the perfect thing ever. Do you know what I'm saying? And Holvey has been a really big one for me. Holvey's album, I think it's called, is it Cry? Yeah, it's called Cry. It came out in 2024, but oh man, like this is okay. I'm going to nerd out right now on this like I would other music. The way that he's broken down this album into 3 different sectors, in the first song of each disc, he puts it into 3 discs, is it's like a blueprint for what this disc is going to be about. There's communion, reflection, and yearning. And all the songs are just awesome. Like Poor Party is so fire. Poor Party reminds me of like Tekka beats, little Tekka beats, or like those just like awesome beats that you would hear usually in secular music. But he's using these beats for good. Like, I don't want to like label all secular music as bad, but anything, I don't have, a better way to put it is that anything potentially negative said in secular music, I don't have to worry about it. And on top of that, it feels like there's a mission with these songs. It feels like I'm getting something out of it, that I'm learning a positive perspective from somebody that I'd actually want to be like. Because through this heart transformation that God's done for me, I don't really want to be like Tyler, Yachty, or Kanye, or any of the people I used to look up to, Mac. I don't really want to be like them anymore. I'm telling you, I feel so different now that you could take my love of music away from me. You can take everything from me. But if I still have God, I'm fine. I could be homeless. God willing, I won't be home. Like, praise to God. Like, I hope to not be homeless. I love where I live and I love the blessings that God has given me. But like, I'm fine. I don't use them anymore for strength or for understanding of who I am or any of that, because I know my identity in Christ. I know who gives me strength, who gives my breath every day that I wake up with. I know who gives me my will. I know who gives me my blessings. It's none of those people. And the fruits that they have are on paper. If you're looking at material assets, if you're looking at ego and swag and like worldly wants, they have it all. But the one thing they don't have is this peacefulness with God. Is the fruits that God would want for them. In my opinion, like, I don't know anything about these people personally, but it's different when I listen to Holvey or Forrest Frank speak, or even the podcasters I listen to. I'm like, oh, I want to be like that. Like, that's who I reach to now, where I'm like, they're praising God. They're saying the glory goes to God. Their fruits look so amazing. That's who I want to be like. I want to be like Holvey, you know? Like that's who I want to be like now. And it's amazing to me that I can listen to this music that I'm like actually grooving to. That I'm like, yes, like this makes sense. I align with this. And so songs like, especially Love Like That, which is again a drill beat, and he's talking about like what I think he's talking about, is that the love on this world he doesn't want. He's saying I can't love like that. The love that you guys are offering, I couldn't. The love that I want is the love that Jesus talks about. Love don't love like that. I can't love like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Pointing at like this worldly love and then being like, I want the love that Jesus offers. He's like, oh, take that gossip and slander. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want any of that. Like, that's conditional love. What I want is the love that Jesus offers me on the cross. Except it's on a sick drill beat, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like top spinning. I love top spinning because it sounds like it's like in a way it's like tasteful. It's like I can still feel the tastefulness of like these people do genuinely love music the same way I do, except they're doing it for the glory of God, you know? And so it's just like it feels so awesome because it feels like real understanding. Like this dude loves hip hop the same way I do, except he's using it for a Christian value, which is just amazing to me. And Child of God too, like hits everything. Like I will sing Your Ways Better. I'll sing Amen. I'll sing Big. I'll sing Father's House. I'll sing Paradise. I'll sing Woke Up This Morning. I will sing Dancing in the Presence. I will sing Nothing Else. I will sing Happy. I'll sing POV or POV. I'll sing in the room. Like these songs I truly love singing to myself for God's glory. Like that's my comfort. My comfort is not what I like anymore. It's what God likes. And it's also just like crazy to me that I'm realizing certain things about myself that it aligns with. Like the fact that I like truth and what people are saying. Like, so, okay, hold on, wait, let me backtrack. I just totally lost my train of thought. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna move on. But yeah, so that's what like, this is like the new, like I'm on chapter 4 right now. And this is like what I'm feeling. This is how I'm moving. I'm moving different. And it feels amazing. And so this is like, that's like my music update. That's like my music taste update. In is chapter 4. I love listening to Christian music. The new album by Lecrae is also really dope. It's called Reconstruction, and I actually love this, and I love how I can geek out about things the same way that I used to geek out about the other music. I can geek out about this. Like with the Holvey record or Reconstruction by Lecrae. I actually want to tell a story about this because I don't feel like people are talking about it enough right now. On Kendrick Lamar's song, Watch the Party Die, that came out during the Kendrick and Drake beef. Kendrick was talking about rappers that are like Drake and the people that are around him. He wants to watch the party die. He's sick of it. He's sick of this lane in rap. He's sick of it. He's saying it would be better off if we just watch the party die. Pretty dark. But in it, he says, I wonder what Lecrae would do. I wonder what Lecrae would do because it would obviously be different than me. What I got from that is like, Lecrae has held out his morals his entire rap career. Lecrae's on a different spiritual level than Kendrick is almost like what he's trying to say of that his morals would not let him be in a beef with Kendrick or be in a beef with Drake like this. Kendrick is acknowledging that and he's saying, I wonder what Lecrae would say or what Lecrae would do because he definitely wouldn't say, let's watch the party die. Lecrae has a response to this on Reconstruction, which I absolutely love. I love this type of stuff. And the song is called Die for the Party. Oh, Listen to the song. He takes the same type of soul chop flip, the same type of sound, and he raps on this. And he starts out the song with saying, people were wondering why I didn't make a response to Kendrick. People are surprised. People are surprised that I didn't say anything. And then he goes into like this unraveling of being like, I remember he was let me actually hold on, wait. Let me pull up the lyrics real quick. Cause I don't wanna speak wrongly. Lecrae starts this song with setting the scene of why he's going to speak, of being like, I maybe was wrestling. He was saying, I'm wrestling with whether I was going to write a verse about this. I didn't want to seem like the other vultures out there just trying to make a big name off of a mention. I didn't want to try to inflate myself off of this beef of what Kendrick is saying. Then he goes into humbling himself and actually, what's the word I was using? Empathizing. He was actually empathizing with Kendrick, saying that I remember when I was in that position. I remember being that guy, and I can't imagine the position that he's in right now. Like, wow, being bred for violence, being bred for all these things, being bred to get into gangs, to shoot people, to lead a path of violence, all these things. He's going into all these like lines and lines and lines of different examples of this basically. And he ends up at the spot where it's like, where he then asks himself, he goes, I wonder what Lecrae would do. And he answers that question. He goes, I really hope that he would respond, that if I'm speaking in Lecrae's position, be like, I really hope I would respond with Jesus. Because that's all I have to offer, because I'm the same as you. I'm a sinner, a dirty, rotten sinner, just like you. Kendrick, we're on the same level. You're asking me what I would do. I pray that I would just bring you the name of Jesus. And it's like, and I love this, what he says. He says, all that I can offer them is Jesus, love. I know it sounds foolish to many, like, really? That's all you got for us? Yeah, the cross is foolish to the perishing. The cross is foolish to people that are perishing. The world will call me weak, and the saints will say I embarrass him. I walk through valleys full of evil, I'm aware of it. I can't condemn the world and burn all of the heretics. Love is patient, so I'm trusting in it. I'm trusting in the narrative. And Christ ain't watching the party die. He died instead of it. Woo! Ain't that some words right there? Ain't that some knowledge? Just like inspiration. I'm like, oh my gosh. When I heard him say that at the end of the song, because that's the last line he says in the song, I was like, ugh. Bro, I'm re-listening to this right now. Like, really try to deep dive on what he's saying here. Like, I love this. Like, I love this stuff. And to hear Lecrae respond in such a witty way, in such of like a, you could just simply say that, being like he could have tweeted and just been like, I pray for y'all. I feel how y'all are feeling. Kendrick, I understand that, like, I couldn't imagine your position right now, but like, I'm going to pray for you, and I pray that the God, or that Father, that the Heavenly Father draws you. Period. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like making this song that like you can sink your teeth into, that you can really be like, whoa, he's saying a lot on this. And he's saying it in a way that makes you think. And because it makes you think, I feel like it opens your heart up more to what he's saying. Especially with the perishing line. Like, I understand now that like people that don't really understand the love of Jesus yet are blind. And I pray that I'm not blind. I'm not putting myself over anybody. But it is a thing. It is a real thing that like you'll speak to people and they're just completely blind to it. And instead of sitting there and being, and he's sitting there, he goes, love is patience. So I'm not going to go and judge anybody. I'm just going to trust in God that he's going to do his thing. And I feel like he's saying at the end here, he's saying, just know that. That's how I feel like he's saying it. He's saying, just know that Jesus didn't watch anybody die. He died instead of it. He's ending the song with what he can offer, which is nothing but what Jesus has given, what Jesus has blessed with him, which is the knowledge of him, which is the love that he has for Lecrae. That's all he can offer. In such a beautifully put way, you now have to go and think about exactly what he's saying, why he's saying it. You got to go listen to the Kendrick song, and that even makes a bigger comparison, a bigger contrast. It makes a bigger contrast of what Lecrae is even speaking about, because you hear Kendrick, like his like quivering, like his like, ugh, like that thing that he does. He's like, let's watch the party die. You know what I'm saying? Like that real like sinister sound. Like, I wonder what Lecrae would do, because I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like, you know, that like that voice. And so Lecrae speaking on it like this, it's like, it's beautiful, man. It's just so beautiful on that song. And so this is what I mean. That like just, and I guess too, it is looking at it that like Christian music has been more open into hip hop and like the pop scene in the past few years, which helps me be able to listen to this type of music. But I truly believe that like even if these certain albums weren't out, I would still only be listening to Christian music. If I just had to listen to Brandon Lake and Elevation Worship my entire life, I would, because it's still good music. It's just not hip hop what I originally fell in love with, which is fine because I just want God. And so but that's like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, so that is where I'm at right now with my music taste. I strongly suggest that you go listen to Child of God 2 and 1. You go listen to Cry by Holvey, and you listen to Reconstruction by Lecrae. It's all great hip hop and pop music, a little bit of R&B too. There's a great R&B song on Child of God 2, Woke Up This Morning, and there's Top Spinning is a little bit more of like a soulful R&B song. It's like, top spinning when I'm gliding. It's really good. But then also go listen to Alex Jean, go listen to Caleb Gordon, that's his name, Caleb Gordon. He has this really awesome song on his new album called War. It's called You Can't Cancel Me, and it's on the same type of beats that Opium would rap on. And he's using like that type of flow, like that, like that same type of like King Carson, like vocal pattern and sound, except the entire song is about how he can walk into a room and he can speak about Jesus, and they can't say nothing. They can't cancel him or anything. Even whatever words they want to say, it's not going to affect him, because God's got him. Because he knows who his God is. That he can walk into a room and speak about Jesus. Like, what a beautiful song. Like, instead of having to listen to promethazine hat and lean hat and codeine hat and so I talk about smoking and drinking drugs and all this like negative stuff that like none of that is going to help you. You can't cancel me. My God is going to stand for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can use that. Remember that. Remember that when you walk into a room, actually, for real. So it's just like all these great music that God has really transformed my heart into absolutely loving. And there's one thing I also want to leave off that I've realized is that you can be as hardworking, you can be as passionate, whatever it might be, like just the hardest working person, the most like like what's the word I'm looking for? You could excel at whatever it might be, at the top of your class, at whatever it might be. But God doesn't necessarily want that to use you. He's going to use you like in his whatever he wants to, but like I feel like what matters most to him is your faith in him. So he's going to use a Forrest Frank to do a stadium tour. He's going to use a Holvey to get to me. He's going to use a Forrest Frank to get to me too, because it's the first album that I listened to that really hit me. He's going to use a Lecrae to, you know what I'm saying, to really inspire me. Instead of a Tyler or a Kanye, when my heart is more transformed by him. That's what he's looking for. Mostly because they're speaking his word, but it's a difference. Like what they offer, which is actually what I was going to speak about earlier that I forgot. What they offer is their perspective of God. What they offer is a Christian perspective that means more to me than any of the great music that the secular side can do. And that is something special that I've just been clinging on to. More than like what I used to. And so like this is just what I'm like finding is that like, what am I trying to say? To me, what I feel like God is transforming my heart into feeling is that what's most important to me is not how good you can make a beat or how amazing you can structure a song to be, but what's most important to me is that you're either worshiping God, speaking about your perspective of how God has changed your life, or you're giving me like gems to really carry for the rest of my day about God, about Jesus. That mission of discipleship is more important to my heart than it is to listen to a song that just has a really great structure to it. That's the difference. It's the offering. You know what I'm saying? That my heart is like now changing to clinging to is the mission of God, of making disciples, of bringing the kingdom on earth, not making great chord structures, even though I love that still. It's still a part of me, but it's not number one. And so it's just been a beautiful thing to watch in chapter 4 for that. And yeah. Try to think of anything else that I want to talk about. I've talked a lot here, spoken about a lot. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching till the end. This episode came out a little bit later than I wanted it to. I really want these to come out in weekly increments. So I might drop 2 this week, or maybe just, hopefully keep weekly after this. But yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Leave in the comments if you got something out of this. And always give me comments on what you guys think. If there's anything better I can do, let me know. I'm open to all suggestions. And God bless you guys.